We are continuing in our discussion of the laws of Pesach from the Chayei Adam. We are going through Din B'dikas Chametz, looking for chametz, and we are in Klal Kuf Yud Tes in chapter 119. We left off talking about what are the different violations of the Torah and how you get out of it, how do you get out of violating Torah law. So we're going to continue our discussion in that. So we're in Halacha Daled now. It says, according to Torah law, it suffices to simply nullify the chametz here in the Chayei Adam, and how much the more so if you actually destroy it in its entirety. And you can do one of those two things. However, the rabbis, the Talmud, Chazal, were strict, and they did not allow you to only pick one. You had to do both. Why? Well, because they were concerned that, number one, if you only did bittul, that's predicated on what somebody's thinking, and it's given too much to people's thought processes. Because maybe someone might think that it would be bad to get rid of this chametz, like going, oh, I'm destroying this good food, and it's a lot of food to destroy and to throw away. So even though he'll say, yeah, I think this should be, nullified and free for anybody and like the dust of the earth, that's not really what that person is going to be thinking in their heart, and won't actually be making a full-fledged and intentional nullification of all these things. And if he's not sincere, or she is not sincere, they're going to violate Bal Yirah, mentioned in the previous halacha. You're going to be keeping your chametz in your house, and you can't do that. We were just told not to do that because you didn't take it out of your house. You left it there. You just said it's dust and it's trash, but it's not. I'm worried about it. It's a lot of food. And furthermore, since someone is normally around chametz all year long, if it's sitting around his house and he nullifies it, you might come to eat it. So therefore the rabbis made a enactment to prevent you from forgetting and coming to eat it. And they also enacted that even if you do this bittul, you say, it's like nothing to me, that's not enough until you have checked all the different parts of your house and removed a lot of this chametz from the world. Or you've sold it to a non-Jew, in which case that non-Jew, technically speaking, will have removed the chametz from a Jewish person's house, or you'll sell the room containing chametz, and you're going to give all the contents of it to the non-Jew, and that is going to be considered rented to the non-Jew and like his own home in your house, which is called mechiras chametz. That's halacha daled. Let's do 5. Now, having made the argument that you not only have to do a verbal nullification, because maybe your actions aren't going to speak loud enough, or your thoughts aren't going to speak loud enough as your actions, you have to do actions, which is destroy it. So if you're destroying it, why are you doing nullification? Because you're going to be getting rid of it, all right? Nope, don't think that. Because they're still worried that maybe little pieces of chametz will be left around your house, and you might miss them, and you might forget them, and not do it. And if you find them during Pesach, you're going to be over in Bal Yirah again. Same problem. You're like, oh, I forgot about this donut. I left this donut over here. Oh, I like these donuts. These are good donuts. I'm going to keep it for the end of Pesach. No, don't do that. Get rid of it. Say it's like you don't mean it. And on little things, we wouldn't worry about a person saying they're nullifying it. Only on big deals, when it's lots and lots of chametz. And some people even argue that if you find that you find this chametz after Pesach and realize that it was there all Pesach long, even though you only found it now, you have retroactively violated Pesach. Crazy stuff. And we don't even make mention of what a certain Rishon, Rabbeinu Nisim, the Ran, says, which is that you don't violate things retroactively for Pesach. And it's not the same thing as eating non-kosher fat, because we're going to assume, since you have gotten rid of everything, this donut showed up later. That's not that important. Let's do Vav. It's just something to know about, that maybe it is attractive, maybe it's not. Not the end of the world knowing that. The rabbis required you to investigate into every little nook and cranny in your home. They're called churim and zdakim, right? I like calling them nooks and crannies. It sounds like a funny word. Every little corner and hole in the house. And even though these little holes and cracks, nooks and crannies, are for tiny amounts of chametz, even just crumbs, and these type of things would be batal anyway. You're not even going to violate Bal on them. Nonetheless, you might see them and go, they found a little crumb, I'm going to nosh on that. Something that you would do, you'd be used to doing that all year long. So therefore, you have to look in these holes and destroy everything, even the smallest amount. And since it's impossible to check in these little holes without the use of a candle, because the daylight is insufficient to get into these little areas, the sunlight doesn't reach there, they further enacted that all these examinations and all this inspection around the home should only be done with the use of a candle. See where this custom is coming from now? And since the candle light is not so great during the daytime, therefore, the rabbis further enacted that this bedikas chametz that we're talking about, that this search for chametz should be done at night, because then candlelight is better for searching, because you're not competing with daylight. Because in daylight, people are not really at home so much because they're working. But at night, when people are home, and it's right as they're coming home, therefore they're commanded immediately. And also at night, you know, if it's too late at night, we're concerned that they're going to fall asleep. So therefore, the enactment was done immediately at the beginning of the night of the 14th, and you're required to check at that point. Let's do halacha Zion, and then we'll pause after that. Since the rabbis of the Talmud enacted a specific time to do this search, and that specific time is at the beginning of the night, therefore, one is prohibited from beginning a meal, sitting down to eat, or to go to the bathhouse, or to engage in any other form of labor 1/2 hour before the beginning of the nighttime. And that's even to sit and learn Torah. One cannot distract themselves, whether it's learning by yourselves or whether you are teaching others. However, with learning Torah, it is only a problem when it is in that time period known as Ben Hashmashos, which is right after sunset and right before 3 stars emerge. And the whole point is, the reason why they were lenient with that is so that way you shouldn't say, well, I'm not going to learn at all, because you're not worried that that person is going to forget to check. However, we don't want them to not learn and also forget to check. So therefore, they should really check before they learn. However, if you were learning all day, some people say that you have to stop learning because you might forget. And even though that's normally allowed to continue doing something when you were in a permitted point to do it, and this is only a rabbinic mitzvah, not a Torah mitzvah, because by Torah law, as we learned, it would suffice to simply do a verbal nullification. And we say, as a general rule, that all rabbinic things where we started another purposeful event or another purposeful long drawn out event, we don't have to stop. So for example, if you were learning all day, you don't have to stop for mincha until it's time for mincha. We're not worried about you forgetting. Here, since we're trying to actually keep you from violating Pesach laws, and it's a prohibition to have chametz in your house, it's therefore a little more than just your standard rabbinic law. And this law is usually debated about mincha anyway. People who daven mariv at the correct time with the community, meaning with the tzibur at shul, they should try to make mariv earlier, because it's going to be tough after everyone goes home and does the b'dikas chametz to bring them back again. And you shouldn't be worried about them forgetting to check, because you're davening, and that's something normal that they do. So you're not going to say, well, it's going to take too long. Even if somebody davens a super long Shemona Esrei. That's my little note on that. That's not what the Chayei says. Okay, and so therefore you should go ahead and and have davening first. Now, if you're davening at home, so you should go ahead and let someone else check while you daven. And if it's just you at home and you normally daven and by yourself, and then you should check first. And since you're normally going to daven anyway, you won't forget. And this commentary on the Shulchan Aruch on Zechok Yaakov writes the following: that a person should always daven before doing b'dikas chametz because of the rule of tadir v'she'eno tadir kodem. The more regular occurrence and the irregular occurrence, the regular occurrence should take precedence, and so therefore you should always daven Mariv first. Those men and women that are reciting the laws of Pesach for a class, the Magen Avraham writes the Chayei, says that it's perfectly fine to learn with them as long as you're not engaging in a lot of back and forth debate. Okay, you're looking, they call it pilpul, back and forth. You're just telling them simple halachas. Why? Because that's going to finish off pretty quickly. You're just reading off the laws. Okay, so, however, some people like the Rambam disagree with this approach. You're also allowed to eat a little bit before searching for the chametz, for the b'dikas chametz, like fruit and maybe a little piece of bread, but you're not allowed to sit and have a full meal. Okay, we will hold it here for tonight and continue more with the laws about b'dikas chametz next time. Thank you for joining me.